really tough challenge this week, NC State. This is a very, very talented team.
He's trying to get your internet, I think. Go ahead.
What's that?
He's just trying to make sure we're up on there.
Okay.
He doesn't know we can hear him.
Very talented team, a very dangerous team. This is a team that's capable, I think, of playing with anybody, and especially from an athletic standpoint, these guys match up very well. Offensively for us, it starts with the quarterback. Lennon is a very, very good football player. A very capable passer. He can make every throw. The deep speed cut, out to the field from the hash, opposite hash. I mean, he's a gutsy player, and obviously he's a fifth-year senior guy that's got a lot of experience and knowledge and with their system. So we'll have to do a great job with him. And it starts with him. They want to throw the football. That's what they want to do to set up the run. And he certainly can do it very well. He's got 22 touchdown passes just behind Taj. So 26 and 10 good running backs. The receivers are very capable. I think Underwood's got 10 touchdowns. And, just a talented group. Their offensive line is huge across the line there. They've got a lot of size. Some veteran guys on the interior. And the thing about NC State, they do a great job with the tight ends. This is one of those teams when you're going into the game that you better know where their tight ends are. They love to involve those guys, especially in the crossing routes and trying to get some things down the field to them as well. So and those tight ends do a great job with their hands and releases and understand their pass concepts. So we'll have to try to disrupt the rhythm. They want to be a rhythm team for a long time, and we're going to have to tackle well and win some of those matchups outside from a coverage standpoint, and try to create some turnovers. This is again a team that's capable of doing a lot of good things. Defensively, probably as good as anybody we've played from an athletic standpoint, especially up front. These guys are big across the board. 300-pounders, very talented, and lead the ACC in sacks. They're second in the league in tackles for loss. The number 2 red zone defense. They're third in the nation in third downs. So they've done a lot of good things this year. Number 2 scoring defense in our league. 11 interceptions, a bunch of experience in the secondary, and that was an area I thought that we lost last year in this game. I thought their secondary outplayed us. And they're back. Amerson is as good a player as you're going to see in the country, and he's probably the 2 biggest corners that we're going to see. These are 2 big, tall, competitive players, and we'll have our hands full with those guys. Our receivers will have to play very well, but it starts with protecting our quarterback. He's, again, 2 weeks in a row we've played the leader in sacks. Last week, Maryland had led the league in sacks. And can we stop that? It's really distracting. Is that distracting y'all?
Yeah.
Bothering me here.
Henry, we're hearing you.
Can we hear you talking?
We're hearing you too loud.
So just cut it off or go somewhere else. It's really distracting. Kind of rude. But anyway. We'll have to protect our quarterback. I think that's a real key for us, just like it was last week. We did a good job last week, and that's one of the challenges that we want to have in our offensive line is to get some consistency with those guys up front and put some weeks together where we really play consistently as a group. We've played pretty good all year, but consistently as a group, that's what we want to see. Not just this guy or that guy or this guy, but all 5 guys, really coming together and having good performances, back type of deal. A lot of movement, a lot of pressure. Coach Archer and Tenuta, they do a great job scheming up what they do, and you got to catch movement when you play these guys. They're slanting all the time, and they bring in 5 and 6 and mixing their coverages up. Just do a really good job of coordinating that. And again, starts with the guys up front. Really, really strong group. Specialists are talented. They've returned a punt. They've returned a kick this year for touchdowns. And I think that they've created momentum that way. But again, our focus is on Clemson, just like it's been all year, and really just trying to have a great Tuesday practice and a great Wednesday, and just continue our formula for success, and then try to play our best game on Saturday. That's really what we're trying to do. There's still a lot of opportunity for this football team. I know we're coming to the end of the season here. I don't have a lot of time left in the season, but there's still a lot of opportunity, for these guys, and but we got to finish. We got to finish better than we did last year to be able to achieve some of the things we want to achieve. And an opportunity to share the Atlantic Division title this week. That's to be able to be a division champion 3 out of 4 years is a great accomplishment. A tremendous accomplishment for this group. So, and again, a step in the consistency that we want to have back-to-back 10-plus win seasons would be a step in the direction that we want to have from a consistency standpoint. That's something we talked a lot about, and all those things are opportunities in front of us, but none of it matters if we don't just take care of our business today and have a great Tuesday session of meetings and practice, and just continue to do what we do. This football team has continued to improve all year long, and I like where we are right now. I like their demeanor, but we just got to continue to stay focused like we've been. Any questions?
They look like they spread the ball around a lot like you guys do. Does that mean some different things on defense in terms of personnel sets and maybe more nickel package here or there or something to that effect?
Well, not really. I mean, they're going to do what they do. That's NC State is one of those teams that they don't change a lot from week to week. They believe in what they do. They're mostly what we would say 11 personnel, 3 wides and a tight end and 1 back. That's mostly who they are. Now they played Wake Forest, they got in the eye, and they just ran a lot of ISO, a lot of sprint draw protection, play action off of it, and that's probably a little bit more of a nature just because of their 3-4, and probably felt like they had some good matchups there. Again, they're huge up front, and I don't know. I mean, we'll probably see some of that 21 personnel, but mostly they have been an 11 personnel team. That's what they do. They put their skilled receivers on the field. They want to put the ball in this quarterback's hands. I don't blame him. He's a really good player. That's what they want to do. They got a guy kind of like when they had Matt Ryan up there at Boston College. I mean, he put the ball in Matt's hands, and that's kind of what they're doing with Glennon. And Glennon is the playmaker, and he's the distributor. And he has done, as you said, he's done a great job. Because it's not just one guy. That's one of their strengths. You can't just focus on this guy. They're going to throw the ball to the tight ends, the back. Love to find the backs over the ball. They like to get 5 out and put pressure on you, and he knows where his outlets are. So schematically, we have to really be sound, do a good job. Everybody's got to have great eyes, great alignments, and then we got to, when we do bring pressure, we've got to win some of those coverage matchups. Because again, he's smart, and it's not like you're going to fool him a lot. So he knows where the pressure's coming from, and he'll get rid of it if he can. I don't know. They probably had 14, 15, 16 guys touch the ball, they're as good as it gets when it comes to spreading the wealth.
How concerned are you with the turnovers the last 2 weeks?
Well, we had turnovers the other day. I was disappointed with the 2 fumbles. The one was just an exchange issue. We haven't had a lot of that. And the other one was really pretty. I would just classify it as football. Taj had great ball security, but fundamentally, we don't want him turning his back. And that's what happened. He's going in for a score, and he turns his back, and as he turns, the guy's helmet goes right on the ball, and you can't see it coming. And that's where most fumbles happen, from behind. You know, you don't, that's where it's usually not the guy in front of him. So yeah, that's just a little coaching point. But you know, he's giving great effort, and that's, in fact, that's what I told him to get off the field. Hey, great effort. I mean, I love your effort, but let's keep it in front of us here. Let's don't turn. Let's don't spin. When you do that, you know, you kind of expose yourself, especially down there on the goal line. It's not like you're out in the field and there's a lot of space to have to defend. Everybody's right there. And that was just a great play by them. And, you know, the other one was you know, just pulled by Taj and our back. You kind of put that on both of them. So you know, we did a better job than we did the previous week. But the main thing is we got turnovers. You know, up at Duke we didn't get any, and that's when it's a problem. You know, so we were even in the turnover margin, and we're like 4th in the league, so we're much better than where we were this time last year. This team has done a great job of that, and we've got but that's going to be a key for us as we go forward. That turnover margin is huge. Not that we're not going to have one, but we've got to create turnovers, and we got to be even or plus in the turnover margin, because when we are, you know, we're a hard team to beat. I've said that all along.
Do you have any questions about Sammy's health going into Saturday?
Nope.
And what about DJ? Yeah, is he looking like he'll be okay?
He'll be all right. He's gonna be all right. He practiced yesterday, and you know, they're all just beat up and sore, and we played 10 ball games. He'll be good. Hot Rod was probably a little bit more limited yesterday than anybody. But he'll be back today. He looked pretty good, but he did the least. So that the plan today is to try to put him in green and have him practice with no contact.
Is Martavis getting the ball more because he's just healthy now? Because as he's maybe practiced better, it's coming to him more in the games, and obviously, you know, he's been doing some really good things.
Combination of all those things. You know, he missed a little time, kind of set him back, but mostly just trust. He's just earned a little bit more trust with the coaches in doing what he's supposed to do. He's been much more consistent with his preparation, his commitment. And that's really it with Martavis. Martavis is as talented as anybody. I mean, anybody we got or anybody out there in the country. You just don't just talk about talent, but it's not just talent. You know, there's a whole lot more than that. And that's where he has struggled, just consistency and his commitment and his focus, and just really earning that trust of his teammates and the coaches. But he's just a sophomore. I mean, you know, we get so caught up in, and that's what's bad about a guy like Sammy Watkins, because then all of a sudden that's the expectation. No, that's not the expectation. That's the exception. You know, and so that's what I hate about recruiting and all the ratings systems and all that stuff, because, you know, guys get better. It's like Shuey. I mean, you know, everybody's like, well, man, it's like he's just, how about he's the guy that's just worked his butt off and he's a 4th-year player, and guys get better. You know, they should be better as a junior and senior than they were as a freshman and sophomore. That's just called development. That's just the way it is. And you know, but for some reason, when a guy's not a great player as a freshman, or he has a bad moment as a freshman or sophomore, we just on that guy. That guy ain't a good player. He ain't this and that. No. Some guys you have to just teach a little more. You got to coach a little more. You have to discipline a little more. That's just part of it. And man, we've all seen guys that weren't very good as freshmen and sophomores, or maybe not what we thought they would be, that were great juniors and seniors. And you know, hey, Andre Branch was here Saturday. He's one of them. He wasn't very good at all as a redshirt freshman or a sophomore. And you know, he developed into a 2nd-round draft pick. So it's just the way it is. But Martavis is, if it's not talent, it's just his consistency with commitment and focus on the right things. Great kid. He's a really fine young man. He just gets distracted. like a lot of young people do. And I think football has probably always come pretty easy to him. And, he's had to learn to really work. He's had to learn to really work here, to really compete. And it's not going to come easy. And he's gotten humbled a little bit, but I'm proud of him because I think he's responded well, and he has really, the last few weeks, it's not just an accident that he's playing better in the games. It's a product of what he's doing in the meetings and on the practice field.
What's your assessment on your special teams of the year so far?
Pretty solid. Been not as good in the return game as we would like to be. Obviously, we've been very sound with our protection. Been very sound with our coverage. Field goals have been outstanding. Kickoffs been fine. Punt's been really good this year, but our return game is, and although we were better, that was a big challenge for last week going into that game. I challenged our punt return and our kick return. If we're going to really make a run here at the end and be special, our return game has got to improve. And guys, we've got some few guys that's got to take a little more pride in doing their job and holding guys up. But that's the one area that we should be better and that we need to improve.
Coach, you talk about playing to a standard, but you seem to have been manhandling teams here recently. Do you fear at all at some point the complacency could set in at all?
I mean, no. I mean, we better set in quick because we're about to be done here. I mean, we got, I don't know, 9, 10, 11 days or so. We don't have a lot of time left. So I think if they were going to get complacent, they already would have. I mean, this team has learned how to be consistent. Last year's team, 42 freshmen, that team learned how to win. They're learning, and some of the games weren't pretty. They learned how to win football games. How to have the right mentality. This team has, I think, through all that process that they've been through, even last year, they've learned how to handle success better, and they've learned what it takes to be a consistent performer, a consistent player, and in turn, be a consistent team. And they bought into those things, and that's what they focused on. We really have. I mean, we prepare for every opponent. We prepare for what they do. I mean, here's who they are, here's their scheme, here's da. But we really have just tried to keep the focus on Clemson. Because we feel like that, we've got good players here, and if we execute our plan to win, we've got a great chance to win.
Yeah.
And so that's what our focus has been on, week in and week out, and really nothing more. And our guys have bought into that. And so we haven't gotten caught up in external things. Who we play, what their record is, what this and that. It really doesn't matter. Anybody can beat us. Anybody can beat us. There's nobody we've played that's not capable of beating Clemson. We respect every opponent. But again, it's here's the level here's the standard we've set. This is the level we expect. That's what we play to. That's what we're shooting for. And we've focused on that, and as a result, it's really a competition to just try to be the best that you can be. And our guys, and as we've improved as a team, especially defensively, we're playing pretty good football now defensively. We were leaking Dan, stick a finger in here and then pop in over here, and for the first half of the season. Not a big surprise, to be honest with you. I really expected that we were going to have to really make some progress from where we were going to start to where we wanted to be, at the end. And they've done that. Heck, the last 4 games or so, we're probably playing as good as probably anybody in the top 20 defensively. And so that's been a part of it. So from a team standpoint, we're really playing it as a complete unit. We're doing some good things in all phases, and that's been the key for us. So we don't really sit around and worry about that stuff. We're just focused on, hey, here's what we got to do to win, and it's the same formula: prepare with purpose. When you do that, you have attention to details. Go to the meetings with purpose. Hey, let's give great effort, but let's have an emphasis on technique. When you have great effort with technique, you get good execution. And then all-in commitment to being the best we can be. That's the formula. It doesn't change. It's the exact same. It doesn't matter who you play. And you know, and then when the game is over, season starts tomorrow. That's our mentality.
Yeah.
Season starts tomorrow. This is the biggest game of the year. Period. The end. Last week was the biggest game of the year. This week's the biggest game of the year. You know, because if you don't have that mentality, and I know that's, I mean, you know, people say that, and that could be coach speak or whatever, but if you don't have that mentality, when this is what you're doing, this is what you're being judged on, and you're trying to get results, you're going to get your butt beat, especially when you're dealing with young people. You know, if you had a bunch of grown men that were veteran guys that have been around forever, that, you know, it might be different. But you don't have that with these guys. We get them for 17 hours a week. 3 hours are the game, 20 of the 20. So 17 hours is what we get them. Well, the world has them, what, 24 times 7, y'all can do the math. What is that, 140 something?
68.
168? 168? There you go. 168 minus 17 hours, minus 20 hours. So that's a lot of time that the world gets them. So when we have them, we have to just say, you know, this is the focus, and this is what we have to be dialed in on. And then you've got to give the credit to the leadership, because they have to buy into it. You know, we get way too much credit as coaches. Our players, they do a great job. And our leadership on this team, and not just the seniors, but leadership that's been developed in the junior class and sophomore class, you know, they have to buy into it, and they have to help in the locker room, in the meeting rooms, you know, when nobody's around. And our team's done a good job with that.
What happened to NC State against Virginia? You think things just snowballed on early?
Yeah, just didn't look like they were quite ready, you know, for whatever reason. And, I have no idea. But Virginia played with great energy, and they came. And I actually got to see a little bit of that game live. I don't remember where I was, but in a hotel somewhere. But I got to see some of that live, and that was the one thing that jumped. Man, they just had a ton of energy, and they came right out and you know, a couple of quick scores in a fast start, and then, you know, all the momentum went over there, and NC State never could turn it. And then it got to a point where, you know, it was over pretty early. So listen, we've all been in that. I've been in there. I've been there. And you look at our game against NC State last year. You know, we come out of the game, and you know, I think in about 13 minutes in the second quarter, it was 3-0. You know, so we kind of fizzled that first quarter. We were not executing at all within our system. You know, we had a lot of mistakes in that first quarter, especially that first drive. We had to settle for a field goal. Really disappointing. But I think it was like 3-0. You know, right there, just starting the second quarter, and then all of a sudden, with about 2:50 left in the game, in the half, it's like 24-3. Something like that. I mean, it's bam, 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 bam. And it all goes back to field position for us. You know, we played on a 100-yard field, they played on a 30-yard field. I think they had possessions on like the 49, the 39, the 18, the 9, and the whatever, 3 or something. I mean, it was, and then all of a sudden the momentum, the energy, and that's what happens in football games from time to time. And you know, we did a really poor job. I didn't have them ready to play, and simple as that.
What do you point to in terms of improvement on your defensive line the last month? I think 7 sacks in the first 6 games. I think 13 over the last 4. So I think real something's turned on for them.
Just improvement. I mean, we're fundamentally so much better than we were. I mean, we are light years, and we've still got a long way to go from an improvement standpoint. But we are so much better fundamentally and technically up front. We've developed really quality depth. You know, guys understand our system, and again, because of that, they're playing faster, much more confident, much more energy. Now, we had a season low 2 mental errors in this last game. We had 2 mental errors. And that's outstanding. I mean, that is tremendous. You're talking about 11 guys on the field at one time and as many guys as we play, 2 mental errors. We probably all had 2 mental errors before lunch, individually. I mean, that's impressive. And so that's just the knowledge. It's the understanding of what we're doing has kind of freed them up, if you will, to play at a higher level. So that's the bottom line.
Chad really raved about Boyd's deep ball this season. Is that a special trait you saw way back when he was playing high school, or is that something that's really been developed since?
Well, I mean, he's always thrown the ball well. I mean, he was born with a golden arm. I mean, we thank God for that. He just always been able to spin it, and I think, but there's no question over the last 2 years with how he's coached here in this system, and how we teach, the deep ball as far as whether we're going to throw it high and short or back shoulder it or throw it over the top, where the ball's to be put. He has a much better understanding of the delivery, but his ability to throw the ball, I mean, he was special when he got here. He was special in high school. That's why everybody in the country recruited him. He throws football, and he's improved in his accuracy, and that's just a product of the great coaching that he's had from Chad and Bill. Both those guys did a great job in developing him mentally and understanding the game of football, understanding defenses and what they're trying to do, and so just he's just been a fun guy to watch develop, but just his raw ability to throw it, he's always been able to do that. But I think with what Chad's done with him the last 2 years and just teaching him the understanding of the delivery as far as where we want it to be, I think that's what he's growing the most. And he's not just throwing the deep ball. I mean, he's throwing it to a spot. He's back shouldering the ball. He's reading the coverage, zone turn, man turn. Is the receiver stacked? Is he outside? All these things. Are we putting it on the hash from 2 yards down the field? What are we doing on whatever particular play it is? And then mechanically, he's tremendous. He's really improved in that area.
Chad, do anything unusual teaching the deep ball fundamentals?
Unusual? No. He's just a great coach, and he really works hard on the fundamentals. He works hard on the mechanics, and he does it every single day. There's not a day that goes by that Chad doesn't work on. And really, any of our coaches, they're working technique fundamentals all year long. We have Indy period every day. Every day. That's something that we try never to get away from. Even this time of year, I kind of trim practice a little bit, but we still keep that Indy period because it's important that you don't get away from your fundamentals and your mechanics. All those things you work on in the spring and all fall camp. You've got to continue to sharpen those skills.
Dabo, obviously the offensive line, one of the big questions coming into the season, but they played a lot better than maybe people had thought they were going to. Could you see that coming during the offseason, or has that just developed week after week after week?
I was pretty worried, concerned about our offensive line. I mean, I think we recruited well. I like our guys, but anytime you got as many guys coming back who really hadn't played, I mean, we had Freeman and Brandon Thomas. So you got a guy that played D-tackle his whole life, and now he's going to take his first snaps. And how's that going to pan out? And I loved him as a football guy, and I really liked what I saw in spring. I really wasn't concerned about him just because of what I'd seen. But all those other guys, and he had played a lot of ball, so it's not like I knew he wasn't going to be overwhelmed with the moment. But Gibb and Beasley and Norton and Kalen and Shaq and all them other guys, Battle, holy cow! You talking about a long way to go coming into the season. So I'm really proud of those guys. In particular, Beasley and Gibb. because, you know, they just went and competed their butts off in camp and won the job. And they didn't win it by a knockout. I mean, they competed their tails off, and we took them to a point as far as we could from a practice evaluation standpoint, but at some point you got to go play. And man, when we came out of that Auburn game, you know, we were like, okay, so boys, we got a chance here. We got a chance. We got something to work with. Now we finally got to see them play somebody, you know, other than our people every day. So I tell you, my hat's off to those guys. And, you know, I think Kalen has improved. All those guys have improved. Ryan Norton has really been not a surprise, but has performed very well for a freshman for us. And Battle continues to come on. Gore, Shaq, and all those guys. Reed Webster. You know, I think we've been able, even though you maybe hadn't seen them a lot on the field, those guys are developing and they're improving. And this spring, it's going to be a lot of fun, because we're going to have as much depth as we've had at that position in a long, long time, and a bunch of guys that are going to be able to compete. So, you know, this has been a really good year from an offensive line standpoint. We haven't always had it together. That's the thing. That's the challenge for us, is as a unit. You know, we call them guys the union. That's what Coach Caldwell calls them, the union. And we hadn't always been together like a union. You know, it's been 3 out of 5 or 2 out of 5. Or, you know, then we'll have, okay, boy, all 5 played great. You know, but we want to consistently try to finish, you know, very well as a union.
Coach, you mentioned the focus and that the players out in the world a lot, and that you're relying on the leaders to keep the guys in tune to the task at hand. A little bit more difficult this week with a lot of the tents outside as the fans and the students in the area get geared up for the Carolina game.
Well, again, you know, we don't talk about it, I mean, I'm sure that they get that kind of stuff. That just goes back to the foundation that you built your program, and it goes back to the leadership. And, you know, again, just the same message, same formula, you know, finish the race, finish it. They're not going to cancel the season at 9-1. And all that stuff that people talk about, none of that matters if we don't have a great Tuesday practice. None of it matters if we don't play well this Saturday. You know, then the stories change. Then it's all different. You know, so just realize that none of that stuff matters. Just like we have. You can't lose your focus, and that's the challenge. And it's been the challenge all year. And you know, I mean, remember, we have a really good opening win. Everybody's excited, and well, we're gonna have a letdown against Ball State. Well, we didn't have that. We're gonna struggle. Well, it's gonna be close for the first half. You know, all this stuff. Well, we didn't have that. And then we go down and we have a really disappointing loss in Tallahassee in a big time meaningful game. And well, now they got to go to Boston. Well, this is going to be a nasty game. Well, we played very well. So these guys have responded, you know, all year to whatever the task at hand has been. And if they'll continue to do that, you know, and buy into, you know, hey, it's just play to the standard, execute our plan, don't worry about the scoreboard. We can live with whatever results we get.
But you didn't have any letdowns this year, really, have you?
Our
I
state.
mean, in the past, you know, it's been up and down, not with you, but
Yep.
with other coaches, but this year,
I
there
think
has
our
been
guys.
not one
I
letdown.
think our guys have played well. I think they, again, I mean, we're never satisfied as coaches, because we're like, well, dang, we had 500 yards, we should have had 750, you know, or we gave up 17 points, they should have got none. You know, that's the mentality of, hey, we're never satisfied. There's always a ton of improving to do, because again, we're focused on trying to be the best that we can be. Not just win the game, just be the best that we can be. And so that's been our focus as a coaching staff, and just trying to improve and control what we control. But we've been very consistent, you know, mentally and physically all year.
Getting back to your passing game, and I know which side of the fence you may lean on this one, but is it the receiver who makes the quarterback, or the quarterback who makes the receiver? Do you ever kind of to think about that? Do you ever kind of see that? Does that play out maybe either
Well,
way?
I mean, it's certainly both. There's no question, but it's the offensive line that makes the quarterback and the receiver. To be honest with you, you know, I would argue that. you better have some guys up front that like to run to the 10 yards and move the chains, because if you don't, you're in trouble with it. I think that the quarterback's the most important position in the game of football. Some people may argue on that, but usually not pretty good if you don't have a quarterback. Johnny Football, who I've yet to see play, I hear a lot about him.
Pretty good.
I'm expecting miraculous things when I get to see him. I've not seen him play, but I'd say he must be a pretty good player. And Taj Boyd is a great player. You look around at the great teams out there, most of them have a really good quarterback. Look at Kansas State right now. They have a great quarterback. Look at the NFL. That's why they pay them guys a lot of money. It starts with the quarterback, but you certainly, have got to have the combination. You can't just mind the village idiot up out there. You got to have great players, a lot of speed, skill, and athleticism, and the ability to catch the ball, and competitive aggressiveness, and that's what we have at that position.
Is some of his advancement maybe based on the fact now he's been around these guys, the receivers, the guys catching the ball 2 years, 3 years?
Oh, yeah. He knows the game. He understands our system, and he understands how to apply it to what he's seeing defensively. We see a lot of things in this conference from week to week, but he just has a great understanding. He's worked really hard to learn the game, to study, to grow. He doesn't get fooled very often. And then he's just a mentally tougher guy than he was, a couple of years ago. And that's just a product of his knowledge, his experience, success, failure, all of those things.
But in terms of the guys he's throwing the ball to, like at this point, do you even see when you watch film or watching the game that he knows what Nuke is gonna?
Oh, yeah.
He understands each guy's speed, so to speak.
Chemistry, yeah, no question. Montana and Rice, how good were they? They were awesome. He'd be running full speed. He knew exactly what blade of grass he was going to cut on. That's just the nature of having a relationship with a guy working together all the time. It's a beautiful thing. Stockton and Malone. Come on. You think they were even thinking? No, they just react. They can look at each other. All right, and I think we've got that. There's a lot of things that happen in the ball game that we don't even call, but it's because of their understanding of the system and what they see. And they're on the same page. We might have a deep go route that turns into a comeback simply by what the receiver and the quarterback have communicated to each other. So that just takes time. That takes chemistry and a lot of summer work and spending a lot of time together. And there's no question these guys have thrown and caught a bunch of balls, and they're on the same page way more times than not.
Do you think Anderson's played this year versus last year? A lot of interceptions, a lot of passes defended.
He's been outstanding. People trying to keep the ball away from him. He's a ball hawk. He's got 4 picks. He's second in the league in interceptions. Last year was just a freak show. That was crazy to what he did. And I think people have tried to stay away from him as much as possible. He is a very, very talented football player. We recruited him. I really liked him coming out of high school. Tough, physical guy. But you don't see many guys who can cover like he can cover at the size that he has. And then he finishes plays. If he gets his hands on the ball, he finishes it. So he's very athletic. A lot of times DBs don't have quite the body control of a wide out. But this guy could probably come over and play wide out and be outstanding. He's just a really, really good player. I think he's had a great year, and I thought he whipped our butt last year. Simple as I thought he dominated us, and it was a big challenge for us.
Anything else?
No.